be more. So here's the deal. I have stayed at some pretty sick places in my time, but I'm pretty sure this one takes the cake.
Well, you know, I call this rally race recovery. So coming directly from a race last weekend where Alex and I won Oregon Trail Rally.
In first place, Alex Gelsomino and Ken Block.
Thank you, thank you. You know, I knew I had to come down here to do this. I figured I might as well stay somewhere very nice in the desert. This definitely was built for partying, but I'm here for some work. Ram reached out to us, said, hey, we have a new edition of the TRX coming out called the Sandblast, and they asked us to go out and abuse it. We picked Johnson Valley, which is the home of the King of the Hammers race. It has all sorts of different conditions from sand to whoops to jumps to rock crawling stuff. It's just a great place to go out and abuse and test a truck. So we should do that. You can look out the beautiful glass, see this vehicle, and we should go outside and show the people what we got. This thing's actually very cool. Out today.
Me too.
So here it is, the 2022 Ram 1500 TRX Sandblast Edition. TRX a couple months ago to do testing. I gotta say, I'm very impressed. I live in the mountains, you know, have dirt bikes, mountain bikes, snowboard, move the occasional stuff for family, the wife. It's very quick, got the fit and finish and design of the interior. Of course, it is basically a supercar that can carry stuff in the back. I really love the fact that, you know, companies like Ram are making these beautifully detailed, powerful, but very functional vehicles.
Hell yeah, me too. You know why? Ram decided to keep a V8 in there, a supercharged one.
Wait, are you gonna spit some facts?
I mean, I'm willing to spit. You take this. You take this. You see this baby right here, packing a 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi. That's right, putting out 702 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds. Here's the kicker. It's really easy to get these things to 1,000. Ask me how I know. We had a little technical difficulty there. Our camera overheated. It's already 1,000,000 degrees and it's only 9 a.m. Let me get back to what I was saying here. The whole reason we are here is Ram is coming out with this. This is the Sandblast Edition, so you get this rad Mojave sand color. And it's not gonna look dirty when you get mashed through the sand or salt or wherever you're at.
Especially in the mountains with salt and all that sort of stuff, yes.
Yeah. Now, along with the Mojave sand color, you get the 18-inch beadlock here. It does come stock on 35s, which all trucks should these days.
And it's actually a pretty good looking wheel. I've designed some wheels. I have a couple of signature models, and I do appreciate a decent looking wheel.
The suspension on these TRXs, right? You get those Bilstein Blackhawk E2 shocks, front and rear. You got 13 inches of travel in the front, 14 in the back. You get these cool little link system back there too, which, you know, you can modify if you need to, but you know, it works well. Have you sent yours through any big stuff yet?
Not yet. It's been winter.
That's what we're here today for.
Yeah.
Now, obviously you can see this thing is wide as hell. You got flared fenders.
Nice dual exhaust that comes stock in the TRX.
You also get spray-in bed liner. Standard. You don't ruin your truck right out of the gate as soon as you throw a shovel into it, or your dirt bike. We got to get to an important part of this, which is the interior, which I really like on these. This is like a luxury car in the inside. You got suede, you got leather, heated and cooled seats. The fit and finish on these is incredible, but with this Sandblast Edition, you actually get color matched stitching. The TRX Black here is also color matched. You got the 8 different modes that you can drive in. My favorite, Baja mode.
Before we take off though, we have some other wheel options to try. So recently I did several posts on Insta Story that were polls to see what everybody thought should go on a TRX if theoretically I had one. But today we actually want to do it in real life, right? Like, I hate photoshopping stuff, but sometimes you got to do it for, to see what a wheel looks like on a car. But since we're part of several wheel brands, we brought some out to throw them on, do it in real life, and really see what it looks like. So
Are we gonna let them vote?
yeah, we're gonna let them vote. Yeah, please vote. I want to see comments here on the YouTube video to help us decide what to put on it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Our first wheel is the Fuel Vector on Toyo Open Country AT. Option 1, I think, is looking pretty good.
Okay, let's go option 2.
Here it is, option 2, the Black Rhino Rapid in satin bronze. I think this option looks really good with this color. See option 3.
We got this Fuel Tech in matte black.
Is this your preference so far?
I do like this one.
I'll let you have this one.
Agree to disagree.
All right, our last option here, Black Rhino Raid, and it's in the satin bronze.
Here's the deal. Comment below. Let us know which one you think. You gonna go with my option? You gonna go with Ken's?
Because we are gonna go with one of these on this truck when I get home. Your vote does count, kind of.
Oh,
Well, that's nice.
damn. That's really easy.
So what does launch control do?
It helps you launch?
Well, yes. You put it in launch mode, apply the right amount of brake to get the brake pressure so the truck won't move, and then you go full throttle. And the engine management puts the truck into the right RPM to therefore go for that perfect launch. So there you go, apply brake pressure. Look at that, it even shows the brake pressure. Apply full throttle, perfect RPM.
Oh, there it is. Now it's unloading.
I think we had too much wheel spin. The computer didn't like that and was trying to find us the right amount of traction. This thing, quick. I think we should try that again.
Yeah.
For science.
Yes, science!
I want to see what our,
What our G's are?
yeah. Nice. Damn, 1.19 G's of acceleration on loose surface. Hell yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty cooking.
All right, Zach, let's go find something else to play on.
Let's go do it. This thing moves.
Suspension's nice.
Yeah. Blower and V8 noises sound so sick.
It sounds nice.
Thus far, we've tested the launch control. Works great. So now we found a little sand dune. Oh! Oh yeah, there we go. Yo, this thing is actually pretty nimble. I tell you what, sombrero's probably not meant for riding inside of vehicles. Oh, be more.
It handled it really well, though.
It did. Dude, this thing gets moving.
There's certain things out here that this truck will do great. It's really quite fun. It just handles this stuff, the high-speed stuff, so well. You really feel like the dampening's soaking up a lot.
Gotta say, comfy ride, 90 miles an hour.
Seat, air conditioning's on. This is luxury.
Yes, it is.
Supercar in the desert.
Yes, sir. So far, we've tested the launch control, seen how it did in the sand.
But look at what I found here. Like a dry lake bed-ish area, there's these little obstacles. This will really kind of show nimbleness of the truck, if there is some. I mean, it looks like I could actually create like a Gymkhana course.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
All right, let's try it. Ooh.
Oh.
I think we might have gotten up on two wheels.
Oh.
What was that?
Not sure. Yeah. Can't see anything.
It handles really quite well. It's nimble. But once it's sliding, it bites. It does exactly what I want. The control through the slide is very good. It's a lot of fun.
Only slight sketchiness.
Yeah, I think we're only up on two wheels once. It wouldn't be off-roading if I didn't bicycle, right?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Nice.
You know, it's nice and majestic, covered in its actual
It's natural elements.
Yeah.
Check. And I think overall the package, all inside with nice air conditioning. So yeah, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It's a nice package.
I also noticed that
We had a wheel swap.
we did a wheel swap. We did a little. You couldn't help yourself. You had to see what they all look like.
Yeah,
on.
you know, I like that wheel that comes on the Sandblast. It's a very nice wheel, but of course, I like to customize things, and this Black Rhino Rapid wheel is quite good. So really enjoyed playing today. It looks proper dusty. And we're on part of the King of the Hammers course right now. We had a little bit of scraping on the way up here,
Maybe just a hair.
but it handled it like a champ. I mean, you can tell we were actually using the sides of the tires here.
Yo, honestly, this thing took it like a champion.
That'll spook him a bit, give us an opportunity maybe. Oh, he's spun!
P2 has gone off in Atwood Curve.
Hello guys, welcome to another iRacing race today in the F3 in the Mozza Challenge around Okayama International Circuit. Now it's the first time we've done this car and track combination, although I have had a couple of other attempts today that haven't gone so well. I made it about 4 meters past the start line before getting taken out in the last race. So hopefully we go well in this one. So we're starting from P3 on the grid today. Not know how I managed to get that high up, but I think most of the battling is probably going to be behind me today. We're going to try and hold this position, maybe gain a position if we can, maybe go for the win, but I highly doubt we'll have that pace. But we're going to give it our best shot today. Hopefully have a fun and entertaining race. 20 laps around here, so about a half-hour race, starting P3. Let's see what we can do now. Big thank you to Mozza Racing as well for sponsoring today's video. They tell me they do now have US stock again on hand. So if you're interested in picking up some Mozza gear, check the links down in the description below. And a big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. So let's see what we can do, guys.
20
All right,
laps.
clutch in.
P3. Okay, well,
Try not
you
to
ready?
screw this
Watch
up.
the lights. Go.
Decent getaway. Good. Okay, we're alive.
Right side. Stay right.
Gotta be so careful on cold tyres. Lost one position, but I'll take that. So careful on the throttle. Okay. Somebody's apologising behind us, so somebody's had an incident. We'll just focus on our race though. All right. A little out of shape there, but we're okay. All right, still alive. We survived lap 1. That's better than we've done so far today.
Okay, well, don't think about the lap times. Just hit each and
Tyres
every
still a little
apex.
cold.
P4.
Now we've got to go to grip. The first couple of laps always scare me in this car. Try to stay with these guys. They're holding each other up a bit, which suits me just fine. Somebody in the pits.
The leader has just done a 124.8. The car ahead has just done a 125.0. P4. That lap time was 125.2.
Lose so much time in that corner if you don't get it right. What's happened behind? He's lost a bit of ground. That's good. We're building a bit of a gap.
lap to Van Dam. In front is now 0.7.
Got to be so careful in the low speed turns. High downforce car. No downforce in those slow speed corners though.
The guy behind's reeling you in. The gap's now 0.7. The leader's just done a 124.2. The car in front has just done a 124.5. Sector 3 is 0.5 off the pace.
Come on. Oh, he's off in the dirt. That'll spook him a bit. Give us an opportunity maybe. Oh, he spun.
P2 has gone off in Atwood Curve.
Oh dear. Not what you want to see. We'll take it though. Was there a little bit of contact? Not sure.
We think P6 has gone off in Piper.
Come on. I think Pascal's probably going to run away now. He's not under pressure so much.
The leader has just done a 123.6. Well done, Will. You're looking really good. Come on, keep your focus. P3. The guy behind has just done a 124.0.
See if we can hold on to Matthias here. He is picking up the pace a bit though. Got to be so careful with the throttle. .2 second gap still. 1.1 behind.
Fastest lap for Van Dam, 123.5. The guy behind has just done a 123.6.
Guy behind's faster.
The gap behind is now 1.0.
Whoa. Problem with this car is once you lose grip once in the back end, overheat your tyres and you pay for it for the next lap. Got to be so careful. Short shift it, keep the back end in check. .9 seconds behind still.
Sectors 1 and 2 are a tenth down. Sector 3 time is quick.
0.8 behind still. It's getting closer. Zero 0.8 still. Okay. Woo.
Your lap time was at 1:23.4.
That might be my PB. Nothing like a little bit of pressure to hurry you up. I think Pascal might have had a small mistake. Matthias is closer. Keeping it smooth. Oh, he's off.
Right side. Clear right.
B2. Come on, Will. Nicely done.
We're going to be under pressure now. Oh, little slide.
The gap to Van Dam behind is now 0.2.
No pressure or anything, geez.
There's an incident in Hyper. Don't be pressured. Keep your exit speeds up. A bit quicker than us entering last corner.
Car right. Clear right. Clear right.
Don't want to lose touch with the leader.
2.1 seconds.
All right. What happened behind us? I think he might have lost a bit of ground when he went for the overtake there. He might have got a little out of shape, lost another position.
Your lap time was 1:24.6.
We did lose a bit of
Sector 2 is
ground
0.7
in that
off
battle,
the pace.
Trying to say with Pascal.
New fastest lap for Lee, 1:23.2.
Well, those two are battling each other. They're going to hold each other up, which is great for us. 1.5 second gap now. Just got to not throw it away. Oh, a little wheel on the grass there. Didn't lose too much time. Can't afford to do that again though. Matthias is back behind me again.
That's half distance. The fuel's okay.
One second gap again, 2 seconds in front. Cannot afford any mistakes. Like that. Little lock up. Didn't cost us too much though, but we can't afford to do that again. I'm getting in my own head. 0.5 of a second. Sloppy lap. .7 of a second gap behind. Just focus.
You've just done a 124.2.
A little out of shape there.
Okay, Will, hold your nerve, just keep it smooth, no mistakes. He's quicker than you into Atwood Curve.
Don't lose it. Come on.
You've just done a 123.9.
So much concentration. He's very close. 0.4. He's still under pressure from Federico though, which helps. Back end getting loose again. Half second gap.
Don't be intimidated. Keep them behind you. They're faster than us into Atwood Curve. Looks like the leader's binned it in.
No!
Hobbs.
Oh my God! We're winning! Oh boy, no pressure. No way.
There's an incident in Williams. Keep doing what you're doing. This is spot on. Yellow flag, good consistency. Keep them coming. You're in the lead.
No pressure.
The gap to Van Dam behind is now
We've got some
0.5.
backmarkers coming up.
I think P4's gone off in Piper.
Another accident behind. It's just the two of us now. That's not what I wanted. He's not under any pressure from behind now. It's just the two of us. With a 2.5 second gap behind. Cannot afford a mistake.
New fastest lap for Lee, 123.2.
Oh, he's a little out of shape there. Saw him sliding in my mirrors. Only 4 more laps to go. Got everything to lose here. Good, he's getting out of the way. Thank you.
That was 123.8. Incident in Williams. It looks like Van Dam.
Oh, he's gone. He's lost it. Oh my gosh. We're going to win. 2.2 seconds back to Pascal. All we're going to do is hold on, boys. Oh my goodness. We're almost there. He's quick. Pace. Does he have enough time?
Fastest lap for Lee, 123.1.
All these guys are throwing down lightning fast laps.
The gap behind is now 1.7. You're leading.
Oh. .7 still, we're maintaining the gap. 2 more to go.
Come on, Will. 2 to go. Stay focused. We can win this.
No! The steering wheel messed up. I've been having issues with the USB hub for a couple of days. It just glitched out, but my shifters are back now. Imagine that. I couldn't shift for a second there, but it came back. It's the USB hub has been mucking up. Running out of bandwidth. Anyway, we need to focus here. What's he? 5.9 seconds behind now. He's had another incident. Thank you.
There's an incident in first corner.
That's not what I want to hear. All right, final lap. The screen on my wheel's all garbled from the USB hub mucking up, but...
One more lap. You're P1. That lap was
Just take it easy now. We've got a decent gap
124.5.
behind us. No need to take any risks. 6-second gap. Woo. What a race. Oh yeah! Yes! Yeah! What a race! Oh man, well there was some misfortune around
Nice
us,
one, Will. Great win.
but we
You deserved that
capitalised.
today.
We didn't make any mistakes. We almost lost our steering wheel there with the USB hub mucking up, but managed to hold it together. That was an excellent race. That was one of the best I've had, I think. Absolutely awesome. I really hope you guys enjoyed that as well. Let's jump in now, have a look at the replay, have a look at some of those incidents and see how things played out. Yeah! Woohoo!
All right, let's have a look at how this played out. Got a decent launch. That wasn't the best launch, but you'll notice the car behind me ended up starting from the pits, which was probably a sensible thing to do. Side by side through turn 1. So we did end up conceding 1 position there, but I was kind of happy to let that go, just take it easy, find my pace. So lap 4, this was the leader and second place. Oh, a little tap there in the back end was all it took to spin him around. That's a shame. So then end of lap 8, this is where we got past Matthias coming through the last turn. He got a little out of shape there, out onto the gravel. Completely destroyed his exit speed. And it was good of him to get off the racing line there as well with the slower speed there and make sure that he wasn't getting in people's way. He didn't have to do that. He could have made it difficult. But he did stay pretty close to my backside for the next couple of laps after this. It's just follow this through a little bit. He did, I don't know whether it was this same lap at the end of the back straight, he took a bit of a dive. I remember having to sort of get out of it. I remember I turned in and I got the call that he was on the right and I kind of twitched out to the left. Let's see if that was this lap. So he's got a decent run on me here. Yeah, so he did get a wheel on the end. Yeah, then I jumped out of the way. And then he ended up losing that position as well. So let's see how that played out. Oh, he just had to slow up too much there on the exit. An unfortunate lap there. But I got to say at the same time, that was, you know, quality driving there to stay out of trouble, not cause any mischief. And yeah, he could have very easily made life a lot harder for everybody else involved there. So yeah. So then the next lap, this was Matthias again getting back past Federico. So same move that he tried to do on me. A little bit further up this time though, and snuck it down the inside nice. A little bit of a lock up on the apex, but still pulled it up. Nice clean move. So then lap 14, this is where Pascal from the lead, and he had a pretty healthy lead by this stage. Made a little mistake. It's so easily done on this corner. I've looped it there at least 5 times in practice and once in a race as well. So yeah, it's such an easy mistake to make. Really unfortunate for him though. So lap 15 now in the battle for first position. There's me in front with Matthias and Federico, and oh, just locked it up. Spun it around there. He did well to keep it out of the wall, but that put him out of contention, unfortunately. And then Matthias behind me ended up having another incident as well. So let's have a look at that one. So lap 17. At this point, he was still in with a very good chance of the win. But little wheel on the grass there, and so easily done. And that was pretty much race over. From there, it was a pretty easy win. Let's have a look at the results. All right, so second split, strength of field 1587, so a little bit lower than I thought actually, which is probably why we were so close to the front. Plus 88 on our I rating after a couple of nasty hits in the races beforehand. I think I lost about 150 points in the races beforehand, but good to claw back a little bit there. Plus 24 on our safety rating, pretty much back to where we were when we started the week. Now, in terms of incident points and stuff like that, we had 0 incident points, completely clean race for us. Scrolling down here, the worst was Adrian with 12 incident points, closely followed by Nils Hamilton, who had 11 incident points. But in terms of raw pace here, how did we go? So my average pace is 124.447, quite a bit quicker than anybody else there with those incidents. But best lap, we were a little bit off the pace there. So quite a number of these guys. Federico was faster. Moo was faster there. He was the fastest. And yeah, there's a couple of other guys down here lower as well, which all had laps close to, if not a little bit quicker than mine. So there you go, guys. A pretty hectic race there. Definitely an enjoyable one. And yeah, as I was saying earlier, iRacing is so funny like this. Like, you'll get a really frustrating run. You know, I got taken out on lap 1 in like 3 races in a row or something. I was really frustrated. Wasn't even going to bother recording another race, and then that happens. So I think the lows sometimes do make you appreciate the highs a little bit more. But, you know, it just goes to show that staying within your limits, being sensible in the approach can yield results like that one. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a thumbs up if you did. Once again, thank you to Mozza Racing for sponsoring today's video. And yeah, I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Bye.
4, 3, 2, 1, los. Gruppe voll, 50, 6 rechts, in 6 links, über Gruppe, extra lang, 60, rechts halten, über Gruppe, Achtung, langsam, rechts halten, für 50, Abzweig, 1 links, verhängt, 120, Gruppe voll, 50, links halten, übersprungen und rechts halten, in Achtung, 6 links, übersprungen, macht zu 4, in 3 rechts lang, macht auf, über Gruppe, 80, 6 links, über Gruppe, extra lang, Hänger 4 rechts lang, macht auf, über Gruppe, 60, 6 rechts, links halten, für 80, Achtung, Gruppe, Gabel 3 links lang, 80, 6 rechts lang, macht auf, über Gruppe, Sprung, 30, Gruppe, und 5 links, extra lang, über Gruppe, 30, 5 rechts lang, macht auf, über Gruppe, in voll links, über Gruppe, 60, Gabel 5 links, übersprungen, Gruppe und 6 rechts lang, macht auf, über Gruppe, in 6 links, extra lang, macht zu 5, 30, 4 rechts, über Gruppe eng, 70, 5 links, macht zu eng und 6 links, übersprungen, in 5 rechts lang, macht zu 3, Downcut Asphalt, Achtung 30, Schikane, 1 rechts, Eingang, 2 links, 50, 5 rechts, 30, Gabel, 4 links, macht zu Schotter, in 5 rechts, in 6 links, 120, 6 rechts, über Kuppe lang, 50, Kuppe und 5 links und 6 rechts, in 6 links lang, macht zu, mittig halten, für 150, 6 rechts, extra lang, macht auf, rechts halten, über großen Sprung, Achtung 80, rechts halten, übersprungen, in 4 links, über Gruppe, macht zu, in 6 rechts, macht auf, 30, Kuppe, in 4 rechts, macht auf, voll links, über Gruppe, 50, mittig halten, über Gruppe, Sprung, 50, 5 links lang, macht zu 3, in 5 rechts, über Gruppe, 30, 6 links, übersprungen, 50, mittig halten, übersprungen, in 4 links, macht zu, durchsenken, in 4 rechts lang, über Gruppe, Welle, macht auf, 6 über Gruppe, bis Gruppe und 5 links, lang, 30, 6 rechts, rechts halten, für 70, 5 links, 70, Gruppe voll, in 6 links, 6 rechts, übersprungen, 50, 6 links, übersprungen, rechts halten, für 50, 6 links, über Gruppe, in 5 rechts, über Gruppe, bis Gruppe und 6 links, macht auf, mittig halten, über Gruppe, Sprung, bis große Sprung, in 6 links, 50, 6 rechts, 50, Sprung voll und Sprung, 50, 6 rechts, macht auf, lang, über Gruppe, langsam auf Asphalt, 50, Abzweig, 1 links, macht auf, Downcut lang, 160, Downcut, 2 rechts, um Ballen, 50, Downcut, 1, Downcut, Abzweig, 1 links, und kehre links, 3 rechts, 3 links, rutschig, in Gabel, Downcut, macht auf, lang, 100, Gabel, 4 rechts, verdeckt, lang, macht zu, 50, Sprung voll, bis Sprung, langsam, 30, 6 links, 30, Abzweig, 1 links, 30, 6 links, extra lang, 120, über große Sprung, 30 Gabel, 4 rechts, extra lang, 30. 5 links lang, macht zu, 3, 120. Achtung, langsam, 6 rechts, in 6 links und Abzweig 1 rechts, verdeckt, macht zu, macht auf über Kuppe, in 6 links lang, in 6 rechts lang, macht auf über Kuppe, 50. 5 rechts übersprungen, in 6 links, 30, 6 rechts lang über Kuppe, in 6 links lang, macht zu nach Kreuzung, macht auf lang, in 5 links, in 4 rechts über Kuppe lang, in 6 links über Kuppe, macht auf übersprungen, in 4 rechts, 50 langsam Kuppe, in Abzweig 1 links, Asphalt, 80, 6 links, über Kuppe lang, macht zu, Abzweig 1 links Schotter und 5 rechts lang, in 5 links übersprungen, in 6 rechts, in 6 links extra lang, macht auf, über Kuppe Sprung, in 6 rechts lang, in 6 links, in Don't-Cut, 5 rechts lang, macht auf über Kuppe, in 5 links lang, macht zu, 4, 50, 5 rechts, extra lang, nach Kreuzung, in 6 links, über Kuppe lang, in 6 rechts lang, macht auf über Kuppe, 50, 6 links, in 6 rechts, in 6 links, 140, über Wellen, 5 rechts, über Wellen, Sprung, macht auf über Kuppe und Sprung lang, auf Kuppe voll, Sprung, 50, 4 links eng, 18, Kuppe voll, Sprung, 100, Kuppe voll, 50, 5 rechts, Gabel, 4 links, Asphalt, in 6 rechts überziehen, bis Stopp, gut gemacht.
So I thought I'd show you guys my hillbilly setup here. Got the Hue light, and I need to permanently mount it, but right now I've just got it on a tripod that's more or less zip tied to the seat. And right above me, I'll probably get it a little lower, I don't know, we'll see. But then so it's still on up there, and Spa is a pretty good one, but you can kind of see the light on my hands. And then when we go underneath, it's pretty, you wouldn't think that it really adds much, but it's pretty awesome. Just in a daylight part like this, you know, it adds a little bit of light to me, I guess, but it doesn't really matter. And it does have some weird, like it picks up on the colors on the screen, but once you get like to the back straighter, like here, I don't know if how well you can see like on my hands, but when you go underneath the shadow, I haven't really tried it for night races yet, but I imagine that's going to be pretty cool too, like all the lights from people. And I'm going to set up, I have 2 of these light bars, so I'm going to set one up on either side, and that probably will make it even a little crazier. But yeah, for 80 bucks with the hub, that's not too bad. Not bad at all for what it is. I definitely probably wouldn't say, because I think normal price is about $200 or something like that. I don't know if I would pay $200 for it, but for $80, I would say it was worth it. And it was really easy to set up. There's a lot of videos on YouTube on how to set it up. I probably need to change it a little bit so that it doesn't reflect on the screen up there. I mean, it does a little bit. It's really not distracting. It's more my little bezel hider up here that it reflects on. But for the most part, I'm pretty impressed. Shadows are now my favorite thing in the game. Haven't really tried it with any other games. I feel like the Nürburgring or something on this would be really cool.
Hey guys, Daniel Morad here, professional GT driver, and today I'm going to give you 3 steps to perfectly set up your seating position, steering position, and pedal position to directly impact your lap time and comfort behind the simulator. The starting point for getting the perfect ergonomics on your sim rig is always with the base, the seat itself. That's where you're going to be sitting. For me personally, I race a Mercedes AMG GT3 and GT4 in real life, and I measured my seat in my race car just because I was very curious to know what the angles were, and I actually found out that it's a 38-degree angle on the base and a 52-degree angle on the back portion. And I've set the seat up in a way where it's matching within a degree of my exact race car seating position. And for me, that's so important because I want to be comfortable while I'm racing on the sim. And I want it to emulate my real car as closely as possible. So it's always about getting the sim rig as close as possible to what's comfortable for you at the end of the day, because that varies on personal preference. You can opt to use more of a prototype seating position where it will be a bit more tilted backwards, or more of a GT style seating position, like a road car GT seating position where it's tilted forward. For GT3 or GT4 cars, typically the range is anywhere from 32 degrees on the base to around 40, and then on the back it's around, I would say, 45 degrees to around 55 degrees, in that range. So definitely whatever feels more comfortable to you, you can go ahead and set your seat up like that. One of the most frequent areas where you may experience some pain would be in your lower back and your lumbar section, and that's so important because when you're braking, which we'll touch on in a little bit, there's a lot of pressure that's caused in your lower back because of you pressing against the pedal and it squeezing your back against the seat. If there is an air pocket or any space between your lower back and the back of the seat, usually that will cause a lot of extra strain, and you don't want that. So typically what you would do is, you can see in my seat, I actually have a little pad that I've added to reduce that gap on my lower back, and that just tends to support my lower back and lumbar a little bit more when I'm pushing the brake pedal hard. Once you get your seat position dialed in and you have the perfect angle for your personal preference, because remember, there's no right or wrong when it comes to seat angle, it's only a personal preference in terms of what you're looking for and what you want to achieve out of it. For me, I'm always looking to replicate my real race car, so I have my seat set up exactly like my car. Next up, once you have your seat, make sure that your shoulders are pressed to the back of the seat and inside the shoulder rest, because this is so important. If you start removing your back off the chair, then you tend to lose balance on the car. So when you're turning, you tend to wobble back and forth, especially if you have a direct drive wheel, it will move you around. So you want to make sure you're secure. This way you have the most balance and the most secure grip on the wheel. Second thing is, I would say wheel position, wheel distance to you, and the angle of the wheel itself. So for me, the height and the angle go hand in hand. I have my wheel set up at around 14 degrees on the steering shaft, and that's emulating my real AMG GT cars perfectly within a degree. That's personally what I like, and I set up the height accordingly where when I'm gripping the wheel, I'm not putting any additional strain on the top or bottom of my wrist. It's actually more or less going straight from my forearm through a straight wrist onto the grip of the wheel. If you have the wheel height too high and it's too angled, you'll put additional stress on the top of your wrist. And on the other side, if you're too low and you're driving down low, you'll actually put a lot of stress on the bottom of your wrist. So you want to make sure ergonomically you're very straight and all your joints are lining up with the steering wheel. In terms of distance to the wheel, you don't want it so far away where you're coming off the seat, but you also don't want it so close where you feel like you're jammed up and you can't really make the steering inputs and your elbow is hitting the side bolster in the seat. So finding that perfect distance to where you're not jammed up or you're not reaching is important. A great way for that, to figure that out, is to put your arms out while your shoulders are in the back of the seat, wrists on top of the wheel, and your wrist should be sitting right on the top of the wheel rim. That's more or less a really good guideline to getting the proper distance for the wheel. The final step to get the perfect ergonomics in your sim racing rig would be to get the pedals set up in the right spot. And this one can be quite tricky because you need step 1 and step 2 to be correct for step 3 to fall into place. And starting right away from your knees, and we'll work down, you want to make sure that the pedals are close enough where your knees are more or less, you don't want to be quite at like a 90-degree angle, but you want to make sure that when you're going to press the brake pedal, especially, this is very important, you don't want to have a straight leg. You want to make sure you're maximizing your big muscles. So you're using your quad to press with the big pressure, and you can reserve the rest of your strength in your leg from your calf and your ankle for the finesse pressure on the brake. That's going to give you really good trail braking and that finesse at the last stage of braking when you're coming off and balancing the car in a corner. So again, no straight leg, avoid that, but you also don't want to have your knees up into the steering wheel or like too bent, because then it will start to generate some knee pain as you start to press the brake. So finding an angle, I would say you want to keep it around like 130-degree angle or so. You know, you're not 180 degrees straight legging it, but just allowing yourself to have a little bit of a bend so you can get that strength from your quad when you're pressing the brake. The second thing is your ankle position. If you feel like you're too closed off in terms of where your ankle and your foot's positioned pushing against the pedal face, it's going to cause some shin pain. So you're going to get a lot of pain in the front part of your shin. Just think about it. When you pull your toes back and your feet back, just statically, it hurts, right? It hurts in your shins. And on the other side, if you're reaching and you're trying to tippy toe it and push with the front of your toes, you're gonna get a lot of calf pain. So try to find that position where when you're squeezing, you're balancing that muscle front and back on your lower leg. So you're distributing the load across, all the muscles in your leg. You don't want to just use one muscle group or one muscle area. So that's probably the best tip I can give you in terms of getting your ergonomics for your legs. The throttle is just positioning the throttle in a way where you're not reaching all the time. I know in the real race cars, sometimes I've driven cars where I'm reaching a lot, and especially if you have to blip the throttle in a manual car or sequential gearbox, it can create some massive shin splints, which you really want to avoid, and also calf spasms. So that's typically frowned upon. But yeah, always start with the knee bend, work down towards your ankle and make sure you get the pedal position. You can adjust the tilt of your pedals either towards you or away from you, and make sure that you're using big muscle groups for big pressure situations, and reserve your smaller muscles and those quicker twitch fibers for the finesse on the brake pedal so you can hit the track, improve your lap times, and have full control of your car. Another point that's super important is alignment of your hips and your knees going down towards the pedal. You can adjust the spacing between your pedals to basically align yourself straight towards the pedal. If you feel like your pedals are off towards an angle, which sometimes it happens in real race cars, if you have, especially with a 3-pedal setup, typically the brake will be in the middle. And if you left foot brake like myself, you're more or less off to one side. But with my setup, and especially in the real car, I more or less align myself where I'm trying to hit those brakes straight on, even if I have to shimmy my whole body over so I'm hitting the brakes straight rather than being straight and angling my knees across, because that can generally generate knee pain, especially if you have a misalignment. So you always want to align your joints straight onto your controls, whether it's your steering wheel or your legs. You always want to try to find the path of least resistance and line yourself up straight with your controls. Hopefully those 3 steps help you guys set up your ergonomics for your sim rig. I know this is a hugely talked about topic, and hopefully that shed a little bit more light in terms of the correct seating position versus just everything you hear. I think coming from a professional GT driver and being able to relay my real life experience, fitting in multiple different cars, having seat fits every single year, I know exactly what it takes to get that perfect ergonomic position to be comfortable and also to feel the car and be balanced within the car as best as possible. So not only will it make you more comfortable, it's going to make you faster because you're not focused on the aches and pains. You'll be focused on hitting your marks and dropping your lap times on track.
Becoming a well-versed sim racer is hard, and there are tons of common mistakes that cost new players lap time and overall consistency. To ensure that this doesn't happen to you, I gathered the top 5 biggest beginner mistakes you should avoid in sim racing and how you easily can fix them. Welcome back to Overtake.gg. My name is Champion Joe and I'm a sim racing editor here on the platform. I have tons of playing hours on various racing sims and I wanted to help you guys avoid making the same mistakes others are making across all racing games. So let's get started with mistake number 1, and that's not using the whole track. When you're just getting started with sim racing, staying on track is usually the most important point for newcomers. As many players migrate from racing games like Need for Speed or Forza Horizon or similar titles where car control is not that really important like it is in a sim. That's why beginners tend to overdrive a car, and when they start to adjust to the handling in the sim, they focus on staying on track first, which looks a bit like this. The car staying in the middle of everything for the most part. Which isn't a bad thing at all. After all, staying on track is much better than visiting the gravel pit every 30 seconds, right? But it's not particularly fast. You see, a race car usually follows the outside, inside, outside rule, because the line, or rather the racing line you take through a corner, will determine how much speed you can carry through that turn. Simplified, this means that you will use the whole track and hug the outside while braking, steer the car to the inside where the apex of the corner lies, and when you accelerate out of the bend, you aim for the outside again to maximize your exit speed. Sounds easy, but many players do that wrong initially and struggle to perfect this craft even with this knowledge. The perfect aid to visualize where your car should be is not the ideal line you can display. No, it is the curbs. Every racetrack on the planet has them, and they show you where you should place your outside tires to maximize your grip through every corner. So when you're learning a new track, take it slow at first and have a look at the curbs available and what story they tell you. How should the perfect racing line look like? Also, don't be afraid to use all of the curbs available to you. Cut the chicane with 2 tires, let your car run wide on the curbing, on the exit, and test the limits of what's allowed and what counts as a track cut. And you will be surprised how much is actually legal to do in various racing sims. Another huge mistake you basically see in every racing game, or in F1 when Verstappen is going for a dive again, are players braking far too late for a corner. Yes, braking late will be faster into the corner, but it will most likely ruin your exit, leading to you crashing into an opponent or to your car becoming folded into a barrier. And this is where the famous sim racing saying comes into place: slow in, fast out. Which is of course a bit dramatic in its formulation, but in its core, it's the most essential racing tip you can get for bettering your corners and braking. But let's start from the beginning. When you are learning a new track and you have no clue where to brake, start to look at the side of the track to spot some markers that you can easily recognize while driving at a fast pace. This could be a tree, the start of the curbing, a line on the track, or the meter boards that solely are there for exactly this purpose. Just don't take any shadows, trust me. Then start at roughly 200 meters, for example, and see how long it takes for your car to slow down before you have to turn in. Or if you are already way too fast and overshooting the corner. Usually you adjust your braking point from there until you are as close to the turn as possible without having to break a sweat when turning in. Keep in mind that your car should flow through the turn and that if you have a lot of movement in your steering that you have to correct, you are most likely already a few meters too late on the brakes. Practice makes perfect here, and when you're comfortable with your braking and driving overall on track, make for tutorials on trail braking next. This will further lower your braking distance in the future. But that's more of an advanced for today. But if you want from us about that topic, let us know in the comments down below. The third mistake I see often with newer drivers that start with sim racing is that they reject any kind of help from apps or programs whatsoever because they want it to be as realistic as possible. But that's a big mistake, especially when you are playing on a 16:9 monitor and are lacking the overview that you would have in a real car. Of course, upgrading to an ultra-wide monitor, VR goggles or triple screens can help you with that. But many of us don't have the money, which is why you should get all the help you can get from nifty programs. And there are many good ones out there. You should definitely consider getting a car radar. It shows you the cars around you, which will help dramatically to stay safe in side-by-side situations on track and to keep you cool under pressure. And there's even a program that can help you with your overview while also making you feel like you are still playing by the rules of the real world. This program is called Crew Chief, a free tool that will act as an engineer and spotter by radio. It can call you by your name, tell you when other cars are alongside you, and also will respond to voice commands if you ask it something. For example, you are driving in an online race, you have all the HUD elements turned off for the complete immersion and want to know what your position on track is, you can just ask, "What's my position?"
P15.
What an awesome tool. Everybody should use it. A link can be found, of course, in the video description. Mistake number 4 is a big one and treated with a technique that real racing drivers have to learn as well to adjust to the speed and to the low reaction times. Because for many beginners in sim racing, their vision while driving is incorrect. Usually when driving a car in real life, for example when driving through a city, the vision of the driver sits right in front of the car. You observe everything that's happening right in front of you, like traffic signs, construction sites, road markings, or people crossing the street. Because your speed is lower, when you spot something you have to react to. Like when approaching a corner, you have more than enough time to react to it. In a racing scenario, this is different. Your speeds are way higher and the time you have to react accordingly is much lower, which is why we have to adjust our vision to spot the next important point where your car should steer to. So when you're approaching a corner, your eyes should already focus on the apex coming up, so you can react in just the right time to start turning your wheel towards it. And I know, what about the braking point? How can I spot the braking point and have my eyes on the apex at the same time? Easy, you have to use your peripheral vision. Spot your brake marker with the corner of your eye, focus on the apex, and as soon as you arrive there, your eyes should already be focused on the exit ahead so you can take the ideal line out of the turn. This takes a while to practice and to get used to, but will better your lap times massively as well as your consistency. The best example I can give you are Eau Rouge and Radillon at Spa-Francorchamps, which are so much easier to master with this technique. Because the speed here is so high and the time to hit the perfect moment to start steering is so slim that every millisecond counts. So by having your eyes already on the inside, while driving down into Eau Rouge makes it way easier to get out on the other side in one piece and to avoid cutting the track while doing so. Our last tip has to do with your attitude. What's your motivation to go racing? Only to win? Then get ready for a bumpy ride. Because compared to other esports titles out there, everybody on track is on their own and you are the only player in your team. Winning is always a 1 versus 20, 25 or even more situation. So if your only goal is to win every race, you will most likely get disappointed and lose interest in the hobby super quickly. My tip is to be your own rival and to find joy in the racecraft. Because every race is also a competition against your past best. Try to maximize your pace when you are driving without anyone around, alone in a race in P10 for example. Use the Delta display to shave off tenths each lap and to always be your best self, even though people around you might be way faster. Also learn to enjoy racing and not only overtaking, but also clean defending and long battles on track without contact with your opponent. If you start to value those situations, online racing will become the best possible experience you can have. If the outcome of battles is not as important than the battle itself, you can fully savor the moment without being disappointed if you only come home 13th in the end of a race. Of course, I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to be the best guy on track, that's also a lot of fun. But it's not the only thing that makes racing exciting. So keep your heads up, keep your fights as clean as possible at all times and just try to enjoy yourself. What are your tips you would pass down to a beginner? Let me know in the comments down below. But that's it already from me today. Thank you so much for tuning in and see you next time around. Cheers!
Figured it might be easier just to make a video. So, view settings. Oh wait, no, it's in the driving menu, view settings. Height I have at 2.9. I don't know how good you can see that. Maybe if I would stop slapping my head around. Lateral 0, distance 8.9. So usually though, what I do, because it is probably going to be different in the Lexus, but what I generally tend to do is just watch my left bezel there, and I put the A-pillar there. It depends on the car. It doesn't always work out well, because sometimes that'll make you way too far in, but I do like to get that A-pillar over in there. That usually tends to be about the right distance. You can measure like you're supposed to, but I usually don't. Field of view I have at 58 degrees, which is going to be set in your triple settings, and then pitch 0. Motion, I have all that stuff off. I hate that stuff. I'm not real sure what this is. I think that has to do with lock with wheel, but I have that off too. I don't like it to be dancing around while I'm driving. If you have a single monitor, it's fine, because I mean it helps you to see a little bit more, but I hate it personally. I also don't like to see the wheel. I've got a wheel here, I don't need to see it on the screen, so I turn that off, but that's again personal preference. Mirror FOV, which I guess it will affect this one. I think that's more for the in-game mirror. I don't know. Anyways, 90, 15 scale, and then zeros on the other. So this is probably the main one. This I did measure to my head, so you probably know this already. It's from the center of the screen to your eye. I think 550 millimeters is around 24 inches, I'm pretty sure. And then so I measured this, which I think you have 32s as well, and the bezel is effectively 0. Yours is going to be a little more. If you didn't, I don't know if those strips I sent you worked or not. They were kind of small, so if they didn't work, that's probably why. But essentially it's 0 if you're using these. Otherwise you need to measure the distance and then you put that in the bezel width. But 70 millimeters. And then my angle, I didn't get a protractor out. I just sort of guesstimated at 60 and looked to see, you know, where it looked the best when I changed it, but 60 seems to be the number that looks the best for me. And you can kind of see, like when you change it, it wings it way out and it makes it look stupid if you go too far. And then like if I go into 55 or something, I don't know, maybe it looks better. It's hard to say. I've just been driving at 60 forever and it seems to kind of be pretty close. It may be off a little bit. I didn't do any math or anything, but I think the main one is distance from the screens, which is essentially going to do the same as your seat distance, the way I understand it, except seat distance moves you forward in the car, and if you change the FOV, it actually warps things. So you want to have the FOV correct and then move the seat distance and then the screen width. So that's probably, I'm guessing the screen width might be why you can't see your mirrors, but that's also another test that I do. Like if I get in a car and set it to the A pillar in the bezel there, and I can't see this mirror, then I'm done, because why have triples? So I want to be able to see out of this window and this window for sure. Whether or not that's like absolutely perfect field of view or not, I definitely want to be able to see out of these two windows, because that's the reason I bought triples. Anyway, that may have been more than what you were looking for, but that's my settings.
Does this look normal to you? Then you're probably doing it wrong. But don't worry, help is on the way. In this video, we'll take a look at camera settings in Sims and give you all the tools you need to get this part of your life back in order. What's up everybody and welcome to the Sim channel. Yes, I'm aware there's a bunch of good sim racing FOV videos out there already, and I'll link a few in the description. But there are a few aspects to this topic that I feel have not yet gotten the attention they deserve. This video will be a bit more technical and less about the supposed effects of good camera settings that I feel have been covered enough in other videos before. So let's get into it, and hopefully by the end of this video you'll be all set to join the FOV police. The field of view, or FOV, is the viewing angle of the in-game camera and should ideally be set to match the viewing angle you have of the picture on your physical screen. To illustrate this, let's have a look at what happens when it isn't, or in other words, what we get if we squeeze a wide in-game field of view into a much narrower one on the screen. One thing we notice is that the width and height of the car in front of us is reduced while its length is maintained. This distortion makes it more difficult to correctly judge the position of your car relative to other objects in the world, such as curbs, walls, and other cars, and makes it more difficult to place the car exactly where you want it. The next turn may seem miles away when it's already time to hit the brakes. As a consequence, your lap times and safety rating may suffer from a wrong FOV setting, and it also gets in the way of immersion. Of course, the sense of speed is higher with a wider field of view, but it comes at a pretty steep cost. What you want to achieve is for the bezel of your monitor to act like a window frame into the virtual world with a 1:1 scale and all angles being maintained. To calculate the correct field of view setting for your setup, you first need to know the size and aspect ratio of your screen and measure the distance of your eyes from the screen. You can then either put those numbers in an FOV calculator, links in the description, or do the math yourself. Or you can use the ultimate FOV table brought to you by the Sim channel. You'll find the link in the description below. One thing that's helpful to know is that some games use the vertical field of view, that is, the angle between your eyes and the top and bottom of your screen, while others use the horizontal field of view, which is the angle between your eyes and the left and right edges of your screen. And then there's a few weird ones that use different measures, for which you're gonna have to look up the conversion factor. Anyway, let's quickly go through the math. Let's say our eyes are at a distance v away from a screen with a diagonal d. To get the correct field of view setting, we first need the width and or height of the screen depending on whether we want to calculate the vertical or horizontal field of view. You can measure that with a tape measure or calculate it from the diagonal and aspect ratio of your screen. To calculate it, use either Pythagoras or trigonometry. I'm putting the calculations on screen so that you can reproduce them with your numbers. Now that we have the height and width of our screen, let's calculate our horizontal field of view, which in this illustration is 2 times alpha. We get alpha by taking the arctangent of half the screen's width W divided by our distance from the screen V. Multiply alpha by 2 for your correct horizontal field of view setting. For the vertical field of view, it works in exactly the same way, using the height of the screen instead of its width. And to everybody who fell asleep during this section, you can wake up now, math class is over. On a triple screen setup, if all 3 of your screens are the same size, and you have the center of the screens pointing directly at your eyes, you'll have the same field of view for all 3 screens, so the calculation remains the same. Theoretically, all that needs to be done should be to set the correct viewing angle for the additional left and right cameras in-game. Unfortunately, not all games have proper support for triples built in, but that won't be our concern in this video. If you're using VR, the FOV should be set to the correct values for your HMD automatically, and you don't need to worry about it. But wait, there's more. The camera's viewing angle isn't the only thing that should be set up correctly. The one setting that for some reason many even seasoned sim racers apparently don't really care about is the correct height of the horizon. It should be common sense that the horizon on a sphere should be slightly below eye level, but how far below? To answer this, yeah. So here's the Earth and here's us. For the purpose of this illustration, I made us relatively tall, but we'll use more realistic numbers in the calculation. Well then, how far below our eye level is the horizon? The horizon is found by placing a tangent to the Earth that goes through our eyes. Thus, how far we can see and how far below eye level the horizon is depends on the radius of the Earth and how far above the Earth's surface our eyes are positioned. Ultimately, we're looking for this angle and we'll name it alpha. Let's construct a triangle between the center of the Earth, our eyes, and the horizon with, of course, a right angle at the horizon. We'll call this angle beta, and we see that alpha and this angle are the same since both are 90 degrees minus beta. We can thus calculate alpha by taking the arc cosine of r divided by r plus x. Let's say the Earth has a radius of 6,371 kilometers and our eyes are 1 meter above the ground while seated in a race car. The resulting angle alpha is 0.032 degrees, so about 1/30th of a degree. Now, if your screen is 1 meter away from your eyes, this 1/30th of a degree translates to half a millimeter. That's how far below eye level the horizon should be, or in other words, just set it to eye level. To get it there, you'll have to adjust the camera pitch setting in-game if the game has a pitch setting. And if it doesn't, just send an angry email to the game's publisher. Or Google how to set it up. Back on topic, why is it important to have the horizon placed correctly? To be honest, I don't think this is going to make it much faster, but it's just really weird to look up at the screen like the first row in the cinema and still look down on the hood of your virtual car. Just don't do that. To be fair, I realize that the correct FOV settings aren't always an option. You may have installed your screen on top of your wheelbase so that your eye level is almost at the bottom of the screen, and putting the horizon to that level might take parts of the road out of the frame. In that case, you may want to place your screen behind the wheelbase to set it lower and get the horizon in the correct position, but that's also not always an option. Or your screen may be rather small or far away and there's nothing you can do about it. In that case, it makes sense to set the FOV to a reasonably low value that still allows you to see what you need to see, even if it's not the quote-unquote correct FOV setting. Being just a few degrees off isn't really all that dramatic. Of course, if you're racing in a living room setup with the screen a few meters away from you, there's just not a lot you can do unless you can get closer to the screen. If that doesn't work, VR could be an option. And with that said, I hope you learned something useful today. Now pull out that tape measure and calculator, punch those numbers in, and get right into your favorite sim to be amazed at the difference that a correct FOV setting can make. Or, if your FOV is already set up correctly, join the FOV police and shame other sim racers into rethinking their camera settings while enjoying your intellectual superiority. This video will also serve as your way of handing out a ticket to anybody you see committing an FOV violation online. Just put a link to this vid wherever you see a wrong FOV setting with no further explanation required. But first, hit like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also, check out the Sim channel on Instagram for some behind the scenes stuff and to keep up to date with what I'm up to. You'll find a link in the description below. And that'll be it for today. I hope you have a wonderful time and see you in the next video.